are live. And we are live for another evening of development. Development, enhancement, bug fixing, innovation, new stuff. You never know. You never know what you're gonna get. You know, every stream is a bit different. We are doing different stuff. I was drinking a bit. I was drinking. Where am I? I don't see myself. Why? I don't see myself. Wait. Maybe if I click on this, and if I click on that, and maybe if I pull this lever. Here I am. Good evening. Good evening. Hello, boys and girls and plane shifters of the world. How are you today? How are you today? Today is Thursday, and it's definitely the best day to develop some games, right? Because we like developing games. We love developing games. Developing games is nice. Expands your mind. Hello, Tiger. Did it move? I didn't see it. But probably it did. Hello. Hello. So we had a few server crashes, right? Which is okay. I mean, server crashes are part of the daily life of a developer. So we are not scared about server crashes. I mean, we don't like them, but we prefer if they don't exist, they don't occur, but we are not scared of server crashes. I mean, server crashes are fine. I mean, as long as we can fix them. So I collected a bunch, you know, of server crashes because our new server is actually up, as you can see, is here, and we have a specific directory where the crashes are stored, and so I checked some of them and I have collected them in this file, right? Now, of these crashes, there is one, which is this one, which I think I already solved, because this one is happening when a certain character is landing, right? Is landing on the surface, and we do some reasoning on the landing. And in particular, we are failing on PS character 7026, right? On PS character 7026, yes, which is exactly here. It was what I was checking now, right? And basically, I added the check for the Draken plane, and I forgot to have this piece, right? So I only add that, and obviously this is prone to crashes if the sector returned is null, right? And so just adding this piece, which is checking the validity of sector first, I think it is gonna fix the crash. Now, there is a problem behind the problem, right? And is the fact that in theory this get sector should never return an empty sector. So our character should always be somewhere recognized, I mean in an area recognized by our server, right? So that's the idea. Let me change music. By the way, yes, yesterday I misclicked on the music folder, and in fact we got a few copyright strikes, but you know, nothing too bad. I just muted the VOD. I mean, muted that piece, and it was fine. There were some. I think there still are. There still are a few. So yes, I'm going to. There are 3 songs that yesterday were flagged as copyright, and so I'm gonna remove them. I removed one already, but I'm doing the others right now. I think the music is too loud. No, the music is too loud. Or not, I don't know. Feels a bit loud to me. So this one I think it should be fixed. Now we cannot really test it, because to test it fully I will have to redeploy our server and I don't think I want to do it, because there are significant changes which are breaking the compatibility with the clients, which means that then I will have to re-release a new client. And so I mean, I think we can do it, but only when I release the new client. So, you know, this is landed. I think we can delete it from this list. I think we can delete it. Now, there is another one, which is this one, which I'm seeking since some time. Well, not I'm really seeking, but I've seen it already. And I said to myself, one day we need to fix this, okay? The problem is that it's not very easy to test and to reproduce, but I think we should do it. I think we should do it. So, and I think we can do it now. My idea is that we try to fix this bug tonight, which is a very important one, which happened already in the past. I did some fixes to it, and basically this function, the hate list, get most hated, is the one where NPC are getting attacked and are getting and I'm putting the character on a hate list. So let's say there is an NPC, or let's say there is a character. There is a character, right? There is an NPC. NPC is weird, you know. It's like this. Okay, there is an NPC, and let's say that the character attacks. How do we want the legs to be? The legs will be like this. Very nice. Very nice NPC. So the character attacks the NPC, right? Or the NPC has automatic aggro, but that's kind of a bit of a special case. But if the character attacks the NPC by any means, right, the character gets added to what we call the hate list, right? The hate list is the list of characters that the NPC knows they are enemies, right? And that he wants to kill, or anyway is considering as enemies. Now this hate list, I have to remember how it is done, but I think it's just a team app or something. Let me see where we are crashing, by the way. We are crashing in NPC brain 1812. Okay. So we are crashing in NPC brain. Wait, I need more space because the microphone is in the middle. Okay, like this is better. So NPC brain, yeah, exactly, get most hated. So this is the function where our NPC is trying to understand who is his enemy, or let's say who are his enemies, and which one is the most hated. So the one that dealt more damage to him, or the one that is closer to him, or the one anyway that is more ugly, or whatever. So now this function is going through a search on of all the nearby characters, right? And then with a specific range, okay, which is basically the search range given on the NPC. And then the NPC is deciding if of those characters there is one which is actually on his hate list, right? There are some special cases, like the character should not be invisible or invincible. There must be a certain threshold of hate amount, right? And such, right? And so at the end, this function is returning which character is the most hated within a given range. Now, this function seems to be crashing sometimes, unfortunately. And I think that the problem that we have is that the hate list entry is not, you know, fully updated on character disconnections. I mean, at least that's my feeling of why we are crashing, because it's not consistent. It's not happening all the time. It's only happening sometimes. Only thing I want to do in a queue, connect project with emulator server and make it compatible. Yes, for sure you can. Which kind of networking protocol? Well, the first thing you need to understand is which kind of networking protocol is the EQ emulator sending, right? So that would be the first thing that you need to figure out, right? But I don't know what is the network protocol that they are using, but definitely because your problem will be to connect to it, right? And connecting to it may not be trivial, right? But yeah, this one seems to be the client packet, so it seems to be the way is sending information out. But you need to study a bit this thing, I guess, unless you have a better way. But you see, handle packet. This is the packet. This is the packet of information that is being sent over the network, right, by the EQ emulator. So basically, if you want to discuss with the EQ emulator server, you will have to pass this kind of packets, right? Otherwise, it will not be able to answer you. So, like this guy is saying on the forum, you have to get past the initial handshake, and then is but anyway, yeah, I think that would be your problem. So understanding the network handshake and the network connections, that is the most relevant piece you need to understand first. So going back to us, what I was saying is that my feeling is that our 8 entry list is probably having an object which is not properly cleaned up, okay? And so since it's not cleaned up, when we arrive here, where we are trying to use the actual character that we found, we are failing. Now, a kind of a trick that we can do, wait a second. Yes, but it's basically the same. No, I was thinking if I could use the object that is actually inside this list instead of using the object that is actually in hate list, but I think it's pretty much the same. It's probably a character that is just disconnected. Most likely. But we can try this. Okay, we can try. So we can, what we can do, we can start the server, start the client, ensuring that I am not invincible and I am not invulnerable, right? So that we are invincible and invisible, so that we are passing those checks. And then I think we can see. Now I'm not going in debug mode. I think the first thing we need to do is to try to crash the server. Okay, so try to reproduce the crash on my machine in a kind of a consistent way. And when we reach the point that we can actually replicate it consistently, then I think we are good to go. Right? But first we need to replicate it consistently. That's the most important piece of the equation. Okay, let me just say, because I don't remember if I downloaded all the maps, because I was playing with something yesterday night, right? And there was the need of more map. Yeah, because we updated. No, so I need to clean the maps, otherwise it will take me forever to load in, and it's not a good idea. We're just wasting time. So let me delete all the maps that we don't need, right? And we will leave only Podium and Idla. And we are going to restart the server and the client. As easy as that, boys. Yeah, the server starting. Server is still starting up. It's the first run of the day, and you know, when it's the first run of the day, it is actually a bit slower. I mean, it's understandable because it doesn't have, you know, cached stuff. But I think it's good to have at least one level so we can test it in a kind of a realistic scenario. Otherwise... Okay, there is our mini game there, which reminds us of the past, but we are not caring about the mini game anymore. Okay, I mean, we care, but not that much at the present time. So I think we can fight with this guy, right? I don't have a super easy way to debug the 8 list. Actually, we have a debug NPC, but that's printing out a lot of information, including the 8 list. And that's kind of verbose, so my suggestion would be to avoid it for now and see if we can still reproduce the crash. The idea would be to make myself... so I think we can create a shortcut, right? Maybe this one that is empty. And we can call it combat. And we will do a set me invisible off and a set me invulnerable off. Okay. So we will set this invulnerable, no, invincible, sorry, it's called invincible. Invincible off. Okay. Nice. Okay, so now we are visible and attackable by the monster. Now I don't want to kill it, so I will attack just with my bare hands, let's say. So now I am in his hate list, okay? Because you see that he's chasing me, he wants to kill me. If I stop, he's going to attack me and things like that. Hopefully. I think it is. Yes, he's trying to attack me and stuff. Now, my point is, if I disconnect now, so I just destroyed my client, right? I just destroyed my client. Will the server crash? Right? Or not? I was basically in the middle of a fight and my client crashed. Well, actually it looks like it is, because as you can see, the server is not printing anymore the time of the day. No, it is. I don't know, it took a lot of time to actually, maybe because it was timing out my character or something, but it took some time to print out the stuff. But then no, we didn't crash it. So that means that the hate list was okay. Let's try to reconnect, because let's try to reconnect, because our client, our server now has a hate list for that NPC, which is pointing to us, but we disconnected. In theory, the hate list should have been cleared. I'm not 100% sure about it, but I want to see if I go back into the game. And there is a bug that I fixed already. Why the UI is still on me? Oh, then probably the server crashed now. Probably. I mean, if we get the same crash, would be nice. Yes. Okay, so that's a good one. So on reconnect, we actually crashed. And probably, I think that we crashed exactly in the same spot. Yes, we crashed it. So, okay, so the problem is on reconnect. So if you did not kill the monster, you are disconnecting and you are connecting again, right? I have no idea what the monster is gonna find, but I mean, do we want the monster to remember you? even if you log out and log in. I think would be a better idea to remember the enemy, right? Maybe by name or something, because I mean, for sure the entity is a different entity, because the client disconnected and reconnected, and so we are going to create a new PS character, right? A new PS character which is different from unless we go by ID. Unless we go by ID, which I think is probably a better idea, you know? We go by ID already. We go by ID already. You know what is the problem? Is that the hate list will have as a PS character an object which is actually stale. Because my hate list is by ID. My hate list is by ID. And my hate list entry I think is actually valid. So he knows that he had one enemy. He knows it. But yeah. Right. But this one this one is an old entry. This one is an old entry. So but you know that I'm not completely convinced that this search is a good idea. Because this search is basically searching for all the characters in range, right? And maybe in our hate list we only have one guy. Or maybe the hate list is even empty. Right? So because if we don't find the character, you see, if we don't find the character in the hate list, we just exit and we return a most hated of 0 and we return a null pointer, right? So I think probably a better way of doing this. Yeah, but we still have the problem of we still have the problem of the hate list. Let me check one thing. I want to understand if in the old code hate list entry was also by ID. You see? Okay. That is why. But then, wait, get most hated. But then get most hated. Hello, Strake. Hi, welcome. How are you? Yeah, the get most hated was actually doing a find. But I don't think it's a great idea. We already have the hate list, and the hate list is for sure shorter than the entities in range. So why we just don't take the hate list and we check for range for each of the hated creatures? I think this is so much better. And it's also gonna solve that crash. That is gonna solve that crash. So we are catching two birds with one stone, like the English people say. English people! Okay, so let's do this. Let's transform our hate list entry exactly how it was before. And by the way, hate list entry is nothing else than a structure of two fields, one of which we have already. So it's not very useful, because actually hate list entry, right, keeps track of one of our enemies, right? Of one enemy, let's say. Keeps track of one enemy. Now, this one in the old code was actually an int, and I think it's much better idea. I changed it to an entity because I said, oh, why? We don't need it anymore. But I think it was a bad idea, because then when you disconnect and reconnect, the NPC has an invalid pointer to an object that has been destroyed, right? Because you disconnected from the game, reconnected. The NPC knows that you are your enemy, but the object that he has in the structure is not valid anymore. So, and again, we don't want him to lose his memory when you disconnect, because otherwise it becomes like a trick, you know? So you disconnect by you aggro a monster and then you disconnect by purpose, and then something bad may happen, right? So like he forgets you, so it's too easy, you know? So we don't want that. We want that if you are on his hate list, when you disconnect and reconnect, you are still on his hate list, right? Now, the problem is that with this change, I must now keep this search though, because I don't have the entity anymore in the entity list, right? I don't have it anymore. Which is kind of a weird, I mean, it's kind of a bad thing though. I really don't like it. I mean, the first optimization obviously is to say, if the list is empty, don't even do this search, right? Because this search is, so this one basically searches all players, no, not even, all characters in given range, right? And then basically it is doing for each character, check if he is in our hate list, right? So instead of starting from the hate list, he starts from the character in range, right? Which is a bit the opposite of what I would like to do, but at the same time, I also understand that I mean, he's iterating on PS characters, but we have so many in the game, right? So we can have 2000 PS character between NPC, pets, and whatever. So this function is basically scanning. Now, I assume that the iterator on this list is super quick. I mean, I assume that this 4 is super quick, right? I mean, I'm pretty convinced that it is super quick because is a direct access to probably an array or something that the Unreal Engine is keeping in memory. So I'm not expecting that he's doing any 3D, you know, searches or whatever. But we are doing a bit of a 3D search here when we are extracting the actor location. Well, it's not really a 3D search, but we are extracting the actor location. We are comparing the distance with our distance. We are checking if the actor is in range. So this is basically iterating on all the creatures in the game, and then is checking the location and is comparing it with our location. So if we have 2000 entities in the game, you will have to do this for 2000 entities, right? If we do it the opposite way, so that we start from the hate list, right? I mean, we will still have to scan on the 2000 entity to find the one, right? Unfortunately. Yeah, I think it's about the same. It's about the same because, you know, the difference is scan all APS characters, right? Let's say that they are 2000 and check range in ID, right? The other option is to start from the 8 list and for each of the characters in the 8 list, so it probably is even worse because if the 8 list is 2 people, yeah, starting from the hate list may be even worse because if the hate list is 5 people, I have to search that ID, search the ID of the entity, and to do that I need to do it on all the 2000 characters. So for every hate list I have to do it for every 2000 characters. Hello social autist. Hi, welcome to the stream and thank you for the follow. So in this case, it will do it even more times, right? So I think that is a better idea, the way we do it already now, with the only difference that, so search all characters in a given range, right? And it is basically a full search on all APS character within the given range, giving our position. But then we check if it's in our hate list. So this line remains the same. So I'm searching by ID, looking at the entities that I found, right? And it is a T map, so it's super quick. I mean, it's access to the single element, so it's happening instantly, right? It's a T map access, so it's super quick. And then if we found it, right, means that our OBJ at this point is not anymore this guy, but is this guy, right? Is our list of I whatever, right? Which is an APS character. So, which is basically the same, just seen from the other perspective, right? So now I think that this will prevent the bug. I think this will prevent the bug because this list is a fresh list. You know, is a list that is just extracted again by the server on all the entities that are around you. I mean, around the monster. And then actually the only information that we are really keeping, I mean using, is the hate amount. Right? How much he's hating us. And in fact, if you see here, then in the most hated, he's putting the list of I, right? This one. He's not putting the H entity ID or whatever it is. I think like this should be good. Let me do one thing. Let's test it one more time just to be sure that we have not been lucky, right? Because sometimes bugs are very annoying in the reproduction. I mean, they reproduce in a weird way. Meaning that we tested it, we think that we found exactly the crash, but maybe when we execute it another time, it will not happen anymore, right? So we need to, the best would be to test it 3 or 4 times. I don't know if I have the patience for that, but maybe I do, but the idea is to test it at least twice and see if it happens again. So the way to reproduce the bug is we enter the game. We make ourselves ready for combat. By clicking on this combat thingy. That is basically making me a normal player and not a game master. Then we go to this guy. We hit him once or whatever. We try to hit him. I don't know why he's looking that way and not this way. There should be something else to fix. And then I think we didn't do any damage, so probably doesn't care. Now he's not following us. I don't know why. Why is not following me? Hello? I think something happened already. I have the feeling that something happened already because it seems that the server is not responding at the moment. Yeah, exactly. I think it crashed. Yeah, it crashed already. It crashed already. I think it probably crashed with the same problem or not. There seems to be another problem. No, this is another problem. It is a completely different problem. Interesting. There is something completely different. There is something completely different. He's failing in PS attack. I think that the monster may have tried to use a special attack. And maybe the special attack failed. Because we are failing in PS attack. Now, let me see if it was he attacking me or me attacking him. Actually, it was me attacking him. Really? My attack is a super simple attack, so I don't know how it may fail, actually. But it seems to fail in PS attack 671. Okay, 671. So when he's trying to run the outcome damage, okay, when he's trying to apply the outcome damage, it seems that he's failing somewhere. Because then inside scripting at 4030, at 4030, we don't know what it was executing. We don't know what it was executing. I mean, we can launch it in debug mode and see, but this is a different crash anyway. It seems that something happened when we were trying to attack him. Like if, I don't know if we did a special attack, but I don't think so. But it's nothing to do with the previous crash, anything. Okay, so I think that I have no other way than compiling again. Because I need to run the server in debug mode, and so we will recompile. Hello, Marcelo. I'm good, how are you? Working on our favorite game. Working on that. I'm trying to check some server crashes. Basically, we got some server crashes from production. By the way, for anyone that wants to test the game is up and running. You can test it right now. And actually, we need, you know, more people to test it. So if you have the time, if you have the will, if you are interested, you can join in and you can test it. Because the more bug we found now, the better, right? Because it means that it will not happen then when we open the game to everyone. Okay, so I'm going to I saw a number of errors. Holy moly. No, not this one. Okay. Yes, because I changed the. So in terms of entity, we just have entity ID now, and entity ID will be equal to entity get PID and then unbox. I think we may have this same problem in other places. Dump hate list. Here we have a bit of a problem. Well, we can search this entity by ID. I think it's probably the only way that we can do it. We don't have many other options, boys. I think we need anyway, it's just a dump. I mean, this one is happening only when we are debugging the NPC, so I don't really care, you know, about I don't really care about that. Yeah, no, this cast is a bad cast. I know. I know this cast is not a good one, huh? We don't even have. Okay, so I think we need to go with spawn manager then, because we don't have the current world. available. So I think the only way is to do this. And then in this, we will go for find entity by ID or something like that. Find NPC entity. I think it should be find entity in general. Find nearby entities. No. I need a find entity by ID. I need a find entity by ID. Find. The point is that I only have find player entity by ID. So I have find player entity, but I don't have. I have a find player entity by ID. I have a find player entity by name. I have a find NPC entity by ID. But I don't have one which is combining players and NPC. Yeah, I think we need to create it though. I don't know, because I need it. I think we just have a find character entity. I don't know. Find character entity, so which can be an NPC or by the way, none of these functions have documentation. I mean, it's kind of, you know, evident what they do, but I think it's better. Find an NPC entity by ID. Find amount entity by ID. Find an NPC entity by name. Find nearby entities by name. So for example, this one is I don't know, I have to look at it to understand what it's doing, but I think it's taking any PS character. I think it's taking any PS character. Wow. Not even, it's taking any actor. Wow. Any actor? Holy moly. So any actor or PS character, any item actor or PS character. Any item actor or PS character. APS character by name, by name and radius. This one is doing it by radius. This one is finding any PS character by radius. And this one is finding any players by radius. Okay, we added a bit of, at least when we mouse over, you know, the function, we see what it does. Assuming that I did the documentation right, but I wonder what the bug you are doing is about. I just tested and crashed. The clacker didn't have an HP bar in the fight mode, which is new to me. You crashed, depending you crashed on what. You crashed in production. That's good because I can test something if you crashed. Yes, I have the core. Unfortunately, it didn't write the file. Why? Fuck. Pity. I was expecting this thing to write down the... because they put it under logs. Yes, we have it. Nice. So now we have the crash log. There it is. Okay, you crashed on... I added a few things that are telling me, you know, are extracting the crash log, which is very nice. And basically you crashed on an active spell. There is another problem that I know, and it's another problem that I need to fix. Okay, but one thing at a time. But basically there was a spell, disorientation, which was expiring, probably. Disorientation, which was expiring. And I don't know, or you or him were not available anymore, or disconnected or something, or he died and disappeared, and then after he disappeared. But this is another case. I mean, it's a good case, eh? It's a good case. But there is another crash. It's not the one that I'm seeking at the moment, but it's a good one. It's a very good one. So I need to add a new one. Sorry, I need to add a new one, which is find character entity by ID, right? And so this one basically will be identical to this. I mean, it is 100% identical to this, with the only difference that in this case we will filter we will not filter. We will not filter. We will just return the right players parent PC plus pet plus mount. So basically everything. So we will just check the ID, right? We just check the ID. Okay. So this will be find character entity. And we need to find our character entity by entity ID. Exactly. And the result of this thing will be equal to our obj, right? Now it may be null, but it may be null. So here will be entity ID. Okay, and the rest should be fine. And it is also entity ID. Do we have 2 times dump hate list? Dump hate list and dump hate list. Why we have two times dump hate list? Because they have different parameters. One is starting with an NPC brain. This other one is starting with what? This one is starting with a hate list directly. I'm a bit confused anyway. And this one is starting with a specific NPC. I mean, the code seems to be identical. I don't understand the difference. I don't understand the difference. The code seems to be identical. I mean, there's probably a reason. I'm just wondering. But the code seems to be a copy-paste, you know? One is passing in the NPC and the other is not. But in theory, the hate list is... Okay, let me search. Let me search where this one is called, because... NPC brain dump. Okay, dump hate list output. So in this case, we are already inside an NPC brain, and we are dumping his hate list. But then here we are inside NPC brain, which is another thing. No, okay, but this one is another thing. Also here we have it doubled. Why we have it doubled? I don't understand. I don't understand why we have this double function. What is the meaning of this double function? Dump hate list this. I mean, why one cannot call the other just with the parameter of the NPC? I'm a bit confused. Yeah, in fact it does. It's just passing the NPC in. Then I don't understand the second one. I mean, I can do the same fix in both functions, but it seems a bit stupid, you know? It seems that we have two functions that are doing exactly the same thing, and it's strange. It should not happen. We have two functions that are doing the same thing. One has the NPC as an input, and the other does not. But anyway, the hate list is one-to-one with the NPC brain, so I don't think that I really need to have two functions. Last time I logged on, he had hit me with the disorientation. Yeah, exactly. I think it's probably the expiration. You know what you should do? You should try to get hit by the disorientation and then kill him. And so when he's dying, his character is getting reset, right? But his disorientation is still on you. And I think that when the disorientation expires, then the code is messed up because it doesn't know who is the source anymore, right? It's not finding the source NPC anymore. Hello, one learner. Hi. How are you? Thank you for the host. And thank you. You cannot log in. What do you mean by you cannot log in? I hope that L ** whatever is not your password, because if it's your password, you need to change it now. But in case, change it. What do you mean you cannot log in? You cannot log in on Twitch or on the game? I don't know if I want to fix this thing or not, but I'm a bit annoyed that we have two functions that are basically identical, right? Let me split the screen so we see it even better, but I think that if I take this dump, right, and this one, apart from this piece, which is having the NPC name in the function, right, the rest, well, no, it's slightly different because one is going through NPC debug and this one is not. So yes, this line at least is different. But the printout is just because the printout in one case is going through the NPC debug and in the other case is direct. I understand. I think I know why it's like this, but it's still a bit stupid that all these pieces are identical, you know. At least we should call from here down, you know. We should call a function or something. Also because this piece is absolutely identical. Well, there is again the NPC debug though. That is anyway the NPC debug. Okay, I think I cannot really kill it now. I mean, I can, but I have to think more about it, and so this double function will probably remain there forever. Okay, GG. I mean, it's doing no harm, but I don't like having duplicated code really. Is using though a different function, because in one case it's just dumping the hate list, the other case is dumping the hate list in the context of the NPC. Now my only point is that the hate list is always in the context of the NPC. So okay, let's compile it like this and see if now we get we don't get anymore the first crash. Okay, the first crash being this one, right? The most hated crash, this one. So we should not crash anymore here. Okay, compiler limit reached is still there. Even with 32 GB of RAM, whatever. I think if I put 64, it will say the same thing anyway. Okay, succeeded now. Do we want to launch it in debug mode? Yeah, maybe yeah. So if we crash for something else, you know, we will see it. By the way, for now, Visual Studio 2022 is working fine. So I think the test, Marcellum, is the following. The test is the following. You hit the monster. The monster hits you with disorientation, right? Then you kill the monster, right? So you manage to kill him, but disorientation is still on you, right? And then it happens that the disorientation expires. And my feeling is that when disorientation expires, considering that the monster has been killed and is being recreated because his mesh is destroyed, I mean his character is destroyed and a new character is created, I think that the code here crashes because it cannot find anymore the original monster that created the disorientation. I think that is why it's crashing. But you know, You can test it. You can test it more this way. I think it needs to disappear. Okay, so if it isn't disappear yet, if the disorientation expires before it disappears, I think that it will not crash. I think it happens only if the monster disappears and the disorientation expires after that. Yeah, I got the Visual Studio 2022. Yes. It is better. Yes, it is better. In certain parts is significantly better. I mean, really, really, really better. On other parts is similar. I mean, it happened to me that I have to wait another, but let's say now hardly you get more than 10 seconds wait, right? While previously 10 seconds wait was the standard, and sometimes it was never coming back. I mean, it was never finishing, right? So it was like continuously. Okay, so what we will do this. Now this guy hates me. I'm going to Alt F4. Okay, so I just destroyed my client. I destroyed my client. So my entity doesn't exist anymore in the game, and the server will sense my disconnection, but the hate list of the NPC still has me as an enemy. Okay, now that I reconnect,
you will be assimilated. Resistance is futile.
Exactly. So now that I reconnect, it will still have me on the hate list. By the way, they told me that now there is a rider for Unreal Engine which is free. Is it true? They told me that there is like yes, there is an early preview, and the early preview is free or something like that. Rider for Unreal Engine is now at the public preview stage, and this is where we could usually your help if you want to help improve the final product, which we plan to release in 2022. Yeah, it doesn't tell you if he has a license, but at the moment the early release is free, so you can download it and use it. I don't know if they will then put the license on it. Probably yes, but because Rider has always been, licensed, so you have to pay like a yearly fee or something. The stream paused when you did Alt F4. Wow. I mean, paused, but then he started again, I hope. Now, I waited a bit too much, so maybe I'm not anymore in the hate list of that guy. I think I waited a bit too much. And so probably I'm not anymore in his hate list. When it doesn't follow me, it means that probably there is another issue. Yeah. Okay, there is the other bug. Now, we couldn't test that one, but this is the other bug. And I absolutely need to understand why it happens, okay? Because it doesn't make any sense. So it seems to be crashing on the execution of the combat script when he's trying to affect the target with a specific outcome, and the outcome is most likely a script. Actually, seems that the outcome is not good. Seems to be invalid memory. Where is this outcome coming from, boys? Seems that outcome is defined as a member variable of the PS attack. A universe is not enough, huh? The progression script, power caster, target, and side effects, but it seems that this one is not properly initialized, boys, or is loaded with garbage in this case. I don't know why. First of all, is not initialized, and there is already a problem. Yeah, it's not initialized. Holy fuck. Why is not initialized? I mean, all this stuff needs to be initialized somehow. Attack delay, attack range. Am I missing something or what? We are inside PS attack, right? We are in PS attack. Why we don't initialize any of this? Why? We only initialize type. We only initialize type, requirements, type requirements, attack delay, attack range. Wait. Attack delay, attack range. I don't know why we initialize it at 0 and not a null pointer, by the way. That I have no idea. I mean, it should be technically the same, but it's much better like this. AOA radius, AOA angle. Okay, this one we are initializing, but all the other ones we are not. Why? We are not initializing the damage script. And we are not initializing outcome, right? And so, in case it's not loaded for whatever reason, now it should always be loaded, I think. But yeah, why it was empty? Why it was empty? That's a good question. Because when we load a specific PS attack, we are searching for delay, range, radius, angle, and outcome, right? But outcome is actually a script. And as you can see, if the script is empty, we don't do anything to outcome. So we'll be so we'll be garbage memory. Yes, because we didn't initialize it. Okay, so that should not happen anymore. Okay, that's a good one, by the way. Because outcome should really be null. I just tried to log on and still have the effect, and then it crashed. It crashes. I never killed the monster. Yes, for sure when you log out, all the effects that you have on you are kept, right? And I also saved on the database. That is exactly what should happen. That is exactly what should happen. And also when you relog, the effect is loaded back on you. This is to prevent cheating, you know, like you have a negative effect, you disconnect and reconnect. So we are saving your status and restoring it. What do you mean cannot open? I don't have a client open. Ah, yes, I have a client. Okay. Sorry. Yeah, but that's a very good test. That's a very good test because it means that your I can check if it crashed again in the same place, but probably yes. Fuck! I have the crash log with the date only, not with the minute and the second. That's not good. Okay, 1 second. I need to change this. I need to change this because otherwise we are overriding always the same date, year, month, day. Let me just search this thing on the internet, but I think it should be H for the hours and yes, hours, minutes, seconds. Well, hour, minutes, yeah, okay, let's use it all. Let's use it all. I think it's fine. We can use hour, minutes, seconds. Why not? So we will go D, and then we will go underscore hour, minutes, seconds, right? .txt. Okay. So now the next time we will not override it anymore because the point is that I need to go under saved, I guess. But wait. But yes, it crashed exactly identical to the previous one, identical. So okay, so you don't need to kill him, right? So you said there is just an effect on you. It's just an effect on you that is getting cancelled. And for some reason, he cannot do it. Okay, that's good. That's good to know. I need to test it. I need to understand why. Yes, exactly, one learner. This is exactly why we did it. I mean, not only for that, but also for other effects. But yes, that's okay. So okay. Let me focus on what we are doing. So now we succeeded. Okay, so I will run it again. Now, in theory, with the initialization, we should not crash anymore on the attack. Hopefully, so the outcome will be empty, and it will really be a null pointer exception, a null pointer. And so when he reaches the exception, when he reaches this code, it will not fail anymore, right? On outcome, hopefully. Yes, here. So if he has a special outcome, which is a script, then he's going to run the script. But if it doesn't, then it's just going to apply damage, right? So in reality, this one is apply final damage through script if there is one, or with simple damage number or damage number, whatever, or pure damage number, something like that. I don't know. Okay. Okay, let me test it again. But these are good fixes, because we were crashing a bit during combat, and I think these ones are good fixes. We need these fixes. Okay, so we go in combat mode. We reach our guy. We hit him. Bang! Okay, now he's following me. Now I will Alt F4 and GG. I will reconnect immediately so that, and you know, he's probably keeping me in his hate list. And we were crashing exactly on reconnect, right? So when we were reconnecting, we were instantly crashing because the guy was trying to do the hate list. I mean, it was going through the hate list. It was not finding anymore the character that he started with, right? The problem is that it seems he's not attacking me though. But we didn't crash, which is good. But I was expecting him to still try to attack me. Probably the time was too long anyway, and he decided I can try to do more damage to him, but I think if I do more damage, I may kill him. Yeah, I killed him. GG. I killed him. Because the more the damage, you know, the more the aggro and the hate. So, but if I exaggerate, I'm just killing him. He should disappear in theory. Yes, and he should reappear here. Please reappear, my friend. I need to kill you again. I need to kill you again. Ah, what a beautiful water. Ah, there it is. You came back, huh? You really like me. Okay. Boom. I missed. My weapon is super slow. Okay, I did 50% of his HP as damage, so I did a lot of damage. He's not following me though. Why? Doesn't care about me, huh? I did 150 damage. Why doesn't it follow me? Maybe he doesn't find me. Maybe in his hate list still has the previous guy, which is still me, but under different form. This seems to be another problem though, huh? The fact that he's not fighting me. Doesn't care. I think I am on his hate list anyway, but Position, alive, blah blah blah, walk velocity, HP, mana, owner, clacker, region, inside, blah blah, perception, brain fighter, current behavior, fight. But we don't see the 8 list though. The only way to see the 8 list is to debug NPC. Debug NPC target 20. The problem of that is that if we spam like a boss. Yeah, but you see, sees me as hated. You see, hated position, 733. In Idla Plaza, invisible. Oh fuck! I forgot to enable combat, so that is why he's not following me, I guess. Because he thinks I'm invisible. He thinks I'm invisible. So, well, probably I was then. Yeah, in fact, now he's following me. Because I was invisible for him, I forgot to click on the combat button. But his hate for me is very high. His hate for me is very high, 700. So I think he should not go away so quickly. You see, hated entity 116, hated 797. So at the moment, he's still hating me. At the moment, he's still hating me. Now, the problem is that when I log in as invisible. And I think that may trigger the fact that he understands that he cannot reach me. But at the moment he's still hating me. 797. Let me click on combat immediately. Okay. Fuck. No. He disappeared. He dropped me. For some reason he dropped me. He dropped me as an enemy. As soon as I clicked on visible, he dropped me. But I think with a player it will work. I think with a player it will work. It's just the problem that when I log in, I'm automatically invisible and... Yeah, exactly. You see, he's finding the most hated, which is me, but then he finds an out of range because he cannot reach me in any way because I'm invisible, and so he's removing me from the... He's removing me from the hate list. I think that is what is happening. Okay, anyway, the good news is that with the change that we did, it didn't crash anymore on the attack, and it didn't crash anymore on the reconnect when changing targets and such. So I think that this kind of proves that we have another crash, boys. Why? Holy shit, we have a lot of crashes. We really have a lot of crashes. It seems the PS character is not valid or what? PS character unsigned in. So we are coming from the death event. Okay, that event. So he died. He died, and we checked if the killer is valid. Yes, it's me. If the dead actor is an NPC, yes, it is. And so we go inside, allocate kill damage. Okay. With the dead actor being the clacker. Okay. So we go inside of this, allocate kill damage with the dead actor, and First build list of attack to determine how far to go back and what to measure. Blah, blah, blah. Get damage history count, attacker history, deductor history. I don't know if this is actually getting executed, but we are crashing down here. At least it looks like we are crashing inside. Add experience points. Unfortunately, I cannot see the values. Why I cannot see the values here? I cannot see the value of this, probably because I is 0. Yes, we have no damage. We have no damage history. We have no damage history. Okay. So this wall 4 is skipped. It's completely skipped. Then we do this, which I have no idea what is it, but we go through the list of attackers. There are 2 attackers, one of which is me before the relog, and so is invalid. And so is invalid. Because you see that we have 2 attackers, and one actually has a corrupted name and doesn't have vitals, and obviously, I mean, all this second entry is fucked up. Yes, obviously. So the list of attackers should actually be updated based on the list of attackers should be updated when my character disconnects. I mean, I think we can keep him in the hate list, but it cannot be... because what we are trying to do, we are trying to give experience to the attacker. So I'm trying to give the experience... but it's trying to give experience to 2 people. Right? Myself in the previous session and myself in the current session. Yeah, I didn't, Strex, you're right. So I log it in with another character for now. Is logging in with another character making any difference? Or, okay, so we have this problem. Now, let me understand, because in theory, right, if it was working in the old game, it should work also here. So this attacker should be cleaned up somehow. I think is the callbacks. I think there are a number of callbacks that I just omitted. But probably was not a good idea to omit them, because I think this one is probably cleared up. Attackers is what? Let me just see. Attackers get damage history count. Hey, but this one is kind of a static. How can attackers be null? I mean, B2 if this one is not executed? Probably because this one gets executed before. What is this? What is this thing? Anyway, 15-second pass between hits, breaking the loop. Don't understand. So in theory, our attacker history, right? Our attacker history. But our attacker history is attached to who? To the dead actor. So in theory, if I watch dead actor, if I watch that actor, I should have an attacker history. I should have a damage history. GG these variables, there are like 3000 of them. Because damage history, yeah, but damage history seems to be a variable inside dead actor. Now, if it's not valid, I don't know, but yes, it's actually valid. There are five entries. There are 5 entries. So we are recording every damage that we get, right? And we got, yes, 154 by this particular attacker, yes. And so on. So now the question is, how was this cleaned up in the old game? Was it cleaned up with a callback? I think so. Because, you know, up to today, I always ignore the callbacks because I said I don't really know if we really need them or not. And so I just cleared up the... Yeah, it's similar. It's a similar problem, but the solution unfortunately is completely different because with the hate list, I was going by ID, right? I was going by ID instead of going by object. While here we are going really by object. Now we could change it to ID, but then we need to have to do a find every time. Unless it's exactly the same problem that I changed damage history in Unreal to have the real object because I said why not. Right, but now I know why not. Let me check, because maybe is this, maybe the problem could be that, could be that. Yeah, it's exactly the same problem. The problem is, how is this class defined? No, it was a gem actor. So it was a weak reference pointer of gem actor. So it was a managed pointer that was automatically deallocated when but it was, yes, but is it was a pointer to an object. So the question is, when the character disconnects, right? How can the code, because the old code is working, right? So how can the code know and remove this guy and remove the disconnected player from the damage history of an NPC? How does that happen? Did we do it with callbacks or how? Because somehow, the code should remove this one. So somewhere in the code, you know, attacker history should be cleaned up. Now I can search all the instances. CSP del array. She has p-del array, because these p-del array were like managed pointers to, so there was some logic into these things. It didn't crash since, yes, but all the changes I did are on my machine, so so I didn't do any change to the server that you are using. So in theory it should crash exactly the same. Because all the changes I did were on my machine only. I'm trying to understand if there was a callback mechanism or something, or if it was a smarter management of the object, so it was just returning kind of a null pointer and we were detecting it properly, you know, something like that. But because I mean in the code I don't see it, but get damage history. Get damage history is using this, but so I don't know if there is a kind of a callback or whatever. You know, it is so much quicker if I do it with Notepad++. Believe it or not, but it's so much quicker, really. Yeah, it is a weak pointer, but I mean it was in the old code. That's the problem. So I think that those pointers were kind of managed internally by Crystal Space, and they were probably, you know, I think they had a mechanism, you know, to actually delete themselves. Because the code, if I go back to the, wait, where is that? Where was that? You see, this one is declared as a CS weak reference, right? As a CS weak reference. Okay, gem actor, just imagine is an actor, is an Unreal Engine actor, is the same, right? This was our object. So, and this one is managed with a CS weak reference. In a CS weak reference, so a weak reference, there is a reference to a reference counted object, but in itself it doesn't increment the ref counter. As soon as the object is destroyed, right, all weak references pointing to that object are cleared, right? This kind of reference is used if you want to maintain some kind of, so you see, so it was doing it automatically. I was not doing it with a callback. It was doing it with this specific type, right? With this specific type. And there was, you see, there was like add ref owner, remove ref owner. So basically with this one, we were sure that Yes, we were sure that, so it was inserting, you know, the different pointers and then removing them. So you're saying base implementation of objects that are weak referenceable. Now, does something like this exist in Unreal for actors? Because I need, I mean, I would need the same. I mean, if it exists already. Or if I can declare, you know, the weak pointer, because I don't know if Unreal Engine is managing its own, you know, garbage collection and all of that, and so we can search, but I mean, I don't know if I can. And do not prevent their objects from being destroyed. What do you mean? No, I mean, what I want is that the pointer gets cleared when the object that is pointing to is destroyed. So this is what I need. I mean, do not prevent the object from being destroyed. Okay, that I understand, but before accessing the object to a weak pointer reference, you should use the pin function to produce a shared pointer. This guarantees that the object will continue to exist while you are using it. If you only need to establish whether or not the weak pointer refers to an object, you can compare it to a null pointer or cast is valid. Yeah, but anyway, this seems to exist, huh? Using weak pointer can help to confer intended weak pointer in observation of the reference object without. Yeah, the only point that I need to know is if that gets destroyed, if the pointed object gets destroyed, if my weak pointer is getting cleared and set to null, you know, to a clean null. This is what I need. Otherwise, I need a sort of callback or something. Resetting object owner will destroy the object, regardless of whether or not object or server is still in scope. Assuming object owner was the only owner of this object, the object will be destroyed when object owner stops referencing it. Object owner reset. What is the reset? The shared pointer that pin generates will be null due to the object owner references a null object. When treated as a bool, empty shared pointer evaluate to false. This code will run only if object owner was not the sole owner of our object. Object over pin. So basically they are saying that if I use pin, it will be null if the object owner has been destroyed, right? I'm super confused, but we can test it just you know, with 2 lines, you know. I mean, I don't need to do anything crazy. Let me see. Create a weak pointer to the new data. So this will be my guy. Okay. So let's try to. We have plenty of places. You know, we have a bunch of tests. A bunch of tests is the best place. Maybe we can learn something new. We have bunch of tests. Give me bunch of test. Bunch of test. Perfect. In bunch of test, weak pointers. Wait a second, because I have a deja vu. No, okay. I have a deja vu though. I did this already. I think I did this already. Exactly the same thing that I'm doing now. Maybe I did it with shared point. I remember shared pointer and I think I used it for something else though. It was not for this. The T shared. I think we used the T shared. T shared. 1 second. Let me search T shared everywhere. T shared ref. Ah, for the downloader we used it. Yeah. We used it for the downloader. But only for the downloader. I think only for the downloader. Okay. No, then okay. Then probably I was remembering this one. Probably I was remembering that one. How do I re-download PS Unreal? What is the last version you downloaded? I mean, if you downloaded 0713, there is no download for 14. You just need to launch PS Launcher. I mean, to run PS Launcher, and it will update the 13 version to the 14 version. If you don't have the link to 13, I can give it to you again. But you need to restart from 713, right? Wait a second. Let me see what I sent you, because maybe the one that you used was too old. It was a few releases ago. I don't know. No, you have it. You have it in our chat on Discord. You have the link, right? I can send it to you again through Discord. Just don't share the link. I cannot send it here but I can send it on Discord, no problem. So you basically download that one again that I sent you on Discord, and then you run the program that is called PS Launcher, and PS Launcher will update your client. Okay, so so this guy is saying we need a point, but it must be a T-shared ref. No, I don't want to have it as a T-shared ref. I want an A actor, something like that. I want just a pointer to whatever, you know. So I want a pointer to my actor, and my actor will do. I don't know, can we new object? Can we new object an actor, or is not a good idea? I don't know. Can we do this? Doesn't seem to like it too much, but it's not giving an error, so maybe just Visual Studio being slow. I don't know. But the point is that I don't think I can. I don't know. Create a weak pointer to the data. Okay. So my object type. What do you mean by my object type? My object type will be again an actor. No, I mean, I need to have a struct. I can create a struct. I can create a struct which has, you know, this one as a pointer. Yeah. I need to create. Wait. I need a struct or something. I need. Yeah, it's a bit annoying to put it here, but delete me. Struct delete me. So I don't understand. This one should be the so this one should be like this, right? So it should be a declaration to a weak pointer to something that I'm pointing to. If I understand it right. I don't know if I'm understanding it right, but anyway. And here we do, we create our delete guy. Our delete me guy. So we do delete me. Hey. And then we do a new of that guy. Well, that's not a class. It's okay if it's not a class. I don't know, I can make it a class. If it's easier. I don't know. Is this better as a class? And then what I do hey of this thing equal to my actor. Something like that. I have no idea. I have no idea what I'm doing. Yeah, the weak pointer is not going to work here. It's not meant for you object because these are garbage collected. Yeah, exactly. This is what I was thinking, you know. So if for the U objects that are managed by Unreal, I don't know if this is gonna clash with the way he wants things. Garbage collection and smart pointers on the same object are impossible. Well, unless is keeping it referenced up to a certain point, and then I don't know. So that it garbage collects only after the, you know, only after the weak pointer is invalidated, right? So he knows that is a weak pointer, and so he puts it on the end of his list, and only when he's not pointing to anything else anymore, then I don't know. I don't know, I'm just trying, but it probably is not possible. I lost the whole subdirectory with 13 and everything. It wasn't working, I deleted the subdirectory. All my audio files prior to November 16 were in audio subdirectory. Did you put it in the trash bin, or you shift deleted? Maybe you put it in the trash bin instead of shift delete, you know? Hello, Gion. Those are for non-U object. Use T-weak object pointer for U objects. T-weak object pointers. Weak pointers. It's not here. T-weak object pointers. T-weak object pointer. Beautiful documentation. Look at the documentation. Ah, very readable and very nice. Very readable and very, very nice. There is a lot of things to read, like for example, nothing and also nothing. And also nothing, but good. Also there are broken icons. Just to increase the beauty of this. Okay. So you think that if I use this will be better? So I created a class, okay? I created a class, and a class is having a pointer or a weak pointer. Let me change it to this weak object pointer that points to the I don't know why it's calling it object observer. I mean, this should be the object observed. So the one that I'm looking at, no? Why object observer? I mean, that is the object that I'm looking at. If this one goes to... No, wait, no. No, if this one goes to what? I don't know. Let's keep observer, probably is correct observer. So I have an actor, okay, which is whatever, pointing to me, to my cran. And then I have this other class, you know, which is called delete me for whatever reason. We can call it observer. And is setting this thing to my actor, right? Then this will be valid. Now the question is, if I destroy my actor, remove the star like this, so the T object should well, reading all the documentation that is here. Okay. No, but in the example before it didn't have the pointer. That is what you're saying. Huh? Ah, no, it doesn't have the pointer. Okay. Because it's just a type. Okay. But if we can do this, I think it would be nice, because it means that it will automatically go to null without me going crazy and trying to delete it, right? And then I will just be able... we need a typo redeem. I mean, this is not a typo. It's more of a what the fuck redeem. WTF redeem. Okay, compiled. Now, my problem will be, how do I kill this? In a way that, do I put it into a scope or something? I mean, do I do something like this and no, because this is outside. How do I wait, I think I know. I think I did it nearly right, but not quite. So if I do the same, but like this, and this guy goes up, right? And I assign it inside of this, then in theory, when I go out of my scope, this one get destroyed, right? I don't know how much it will take, but can I just destroy it myself manually, or no? Can I do my actor delete? No, is forbidden on Unreal Engine objects, huh? I mean, Unreal Engine will kill me if I do this. Will he? Can I rename this delete me? Because I think I will keep it, because I think it's a good example. If it works, Use it only for testing weak pointer object. Class observer pointer. Object observer. This object observer here is confusing me so much, but okay. It's confusing me so much. So it should be object observed. Why observer? I mean, I'm observing this. Anyway, fuck it. Let's give it. Yes, automatic will be null pointer if the object is destroyed. It won't be deleted when out of scope. Hey, how can I delete it then? Do I need to wait a garbage collection of Unreal? I mean, this one should die, no? If it's out of scope, why not? This one should die, no? The GC will destroy it, huh? Because if we can do it like this, I think it will be a bit simpler. I have two other cases where I have the same problem. So I have a reference to an object that is getting destroyed, and in the old code, maybe you were not here, Gian, but in the old code, you know, we really had implementation of weak references, you know. So the funny thing is that Unreal is so similar to the old Crystal Space sometimes. I mean, I don't want to say that they copied from it, but maybe both of them, you know, both engine, you know, we're starting from the same point. I don't know, from the same reference of maybe C++ or C best practices. Because here we had implemented, you know, the weak reference manually. So there is a weak reference class in the Crystal Space code. But anyway, so funny that sometimes it's the same. Expected declaration. What do you mean expected declaration? You don't like my class? It doesn't like this. Why doesn't it like this? Did I fuck up some parentheses? Because it seems to be, you know, one of the errors where you fucked up some parentheses. It compiled before. Before I change it to... What did I fuck up? Hello, Raoni. Your battery is about to die. Okay, but you were already very useful with the weak object pointer. So your battery can die. What do you mean? Now succeeded. I didn't change anything. Now succeeded. Before he was saying that there were a million errors, expected declaration, GG. There are still 3 errors, but still. What? Expected declaration. I mean, is succeeded. What do you mean? Okay, anyway, let's launch it. I mean, succeeded 3 errors. Succeeded 3 errors. I mean, what? Gion finished the battery, but you arrived exactly the right time. You arrived exactly the right time. Do you think I'm calling this bunch of tests or no? Because the server is starting up, but doesn't look like.
Simple pleasures for a simple man.
I think I removed it. Because it's not going through this. Ah, I arrived here now. Okay, just taking a bit. Maybe it's not the first thing that he's calling. Okay, so observer point. Don't use delete. Don't use delete, but I need that to be killed immediately. So hey, I have a nice object which is called hey. Now I'm creating my new actor, which is valid. I can skip delete if you want, but then I'm setting this to this weak pointer GG thingy. Do you want me to skip the delete? I can skip the delete, no problem. But if I skip the delete, fuck. If I skip the delete, I cannot do anything because we are out of scope now of the wall function. The wall function, GG. The wall function, GG. Test something. Test weak reference. Weak pointer. Test on this. I don't know, it goes there, but it's GG. It cannot do it. I lost my scope, I lost everything. You can call conditional begin destroy. You cannot kill it immediately, you must wait the CG to do it. Holy fuck. Hey, but bro, if my object, I mean, if it doesn't get destroyed immediately, it doesn't solve my problem, right? Because then my observer will still see a half valid object. You need to die instantly. If it doesn't die instantly, my code will crash because it will find this thing which is not really valid. You know? I don't know. I will try the delete anyway. I think the delete will do something. I think the delete will put it to null. It will kill it completely. And then Unreal will go like, what the fuck? Where is my object? Where is my object? Is valid, eh? Is valid. Yeah, in fact they said it to use is pending kill. If I can check pending kill, then it's very good. If I can check pending kill, then it's very good. Then I can say pending kill here. Right? Okay, let's keep the delete because you don't like it. I understand. So if I skip the delete... What the fuck? Annoying boy. Annoying boy. I cannot go there. Okay, let's keep the delete 1 second because I understand. And anyway, I mean, it should not be done on UE objects, and so I probably should not do it. Okay, I'm fine. So the point is, if I go with hey object, whatever, and I say is valid, for example, there was also another one to use. It said is valid or something else in the, we read it before. Or pin, no? Was pin? Does this thing has pin? No, it doesn't have pin. Okay, fine. So you're saying that if we do this here, it will be already not valid? Because if it's not valid there, then it's very good. Then it's very good if it's not valid there. Because then it's exactly what I need. Oh my god, I need text. GG text. GG! GG text! Okay, wait a second. Is valid checking not null and not pending kill. Because if it's null, the is valid will crash, huh? Yes, because this method is called on this thing. Is valid? What is it? It's something like, what do you mean is valid? Is valid what? Is valid doesn't exist, is valid. Is valid with a V, with a capital V maybe? With a capital V. Is valid. Is valid this? It is really valid. It is more valid. But is valid weak pointer doesn't really like it. Is valid seems to be only on U object. Is valid doesn't accept the weak pointer. That's why usually you don't do E factor, because it can be pending kill. That is very good. And now you tell me. After I wrote like 300,000 lines of code of E factor, eh? Now you tell me. I have like 3 million lines of code with E factor. Like 1 million. So you mean that I should always do if is valid? I mean, if actor is valid? Very interesting. Very interesting. But when I do the iterator on actors, it is extracting all the actors, or because I have a million functions, really, I'm not joking. I have a million functions where I'm doing iteration on actor, right? A million. Like this one, you know, get player controller iterator, iterate, blah, blah, blah. So are all these iterators on players or actors or other stuff extracting all the actors, including the not valid, or only the valid? Because I have it in a million places. But I can say that the game is working, but if I go in like exactly like all these functions, like this one, right? Like this one, I have a million of things like this. Actor iterator get world, right? So it's basically iterating on all the PS character in the world, right? I have a million of those. The question is, should I do here also actor is valid, just to be sure, or this one is already returning only the one that are not pending kill? Because I have so many of these ones, so many of this, so many. Okay, anyway, let's go back to what we were doing. It was a good thing. I think it was a good thing. So it's valid, I cannot use it on... but you know, I can say if... I can check for null first. I mean, it's not a problem. I can check for null and then I can check for the other guy. It's not an issue. But I think if this works, you know, it's solving so many problems to me. So many problems, so many problems. Well, actually, it's not in so many places of the code, but there are 2 or 3 which are really tough to fix. In particular, when you are casting a spell, and Marcellum was just testing it 1 second ago, when you cast a spell on someone, and we create a spell object, you know, with a timer and a trigger, and then after some time the trigger triggers, but unfortunately the person that was affected by it disconnected, right? And so the pointer to the character is not valid anymore, and that's so annoying. Now, if this can fix it, at least for spells and events, you know, I could use this technique, and I think it's nice. Okay, we create our observer, we create our actor, we set the observer to the actor, we go out of scope. Now, let me see. I mean, my actor, obviously I cannot see it anymore, but hey, but this guy is saying that it's valid, huh? This guy is saying that it's valid. So at the moment it's still valid. At the moment it's still valid. Now you say you need to wait. I mean, I can do a for loop forever, right? Because at the moment it's valid. But the garbage collector is running on another thread, I hope, or not? Or we are still single threaded like in 1992. I mean, because if the garbage collector is waiting this thing to finish, because here is valid, you know, but this actor is not valid anymore at all. I mean, this variable is GG. This variable is totally GG. He's saying that it's valid, but it's not. What is get unique ID returning is an int? I don't know, maybe it's still valid, but I don't know for how much. I think Gion finished the batteries. GG! He finished the batteries and we are in trouble now. One succeeded. GG! Because it is exactly a problem we are having. Like, so that we arrive at a certain point where we are calling functions on that object, and that object doesn't exist anymore, right? Because it's been garbage collected. So that's the issue we are having. And also the problem is, if we catch it while it's getting garbage collected, what happens? Because, I mean, our code should work at any time, not only sometimes, right? So you see, object ID is valid. It's 191196339, whatever it is. So our object is pointing to an A actor, and at the moment this has not been deleted yet. So at the moment it's still valid. Now it doesn't have a name. I mean, it doesn't have, because they just created it in a stupid way, but it doesn't have basically anything. But I can assign him stuff, you know. Can I set a name to it? No, but I can get a name. I can set, I don't know, an actor location. I can set an actor location if you want. Right? So the point is that is not I mean, is not automatically nullified, right? Is not. Is not automatically nullified. Ah, please. So all of this I think will be valid. Gion disappeared. GG. GG. Maybe we can check. You know, we can check if there are some examples of this. Okay. If there are examples of...
Everything will be fine. Don't worry.
I don't think so. I think we are really deep into the brown material. I don't think everything will be fine. No, I'm not convinced. Why I placed this thing under plane shift controller base instead of putting it under the place where it should have been, which is here, which is the H file of the same class where I'm using it. Why? Okay, anyway. But anyway, I think it's a good thing. We just need to understand how it works. Maybe I can create a separate project to test this, because testing it in this project may be a bit tough, but just because, you know, it's doing so much stuff. So we because basically we will have to associate. I mean, we can do it for real, you know, we can do it in the place where we need it, because anyway it's broken. So we could do it in the place where you know, where we need it, and see if it does something. But my issue is that if the pointer is not valid anymore because it's out of the scope. One failed. Oh my god, this failed memory. I don't know, guys, if you have other ideas. Oh, now we can test it. At the moment it's only a matter of... Come on, what is your problem? Ah! If you have other ideas on how to test this, please let me know, because we need a reliable way to test it and see if this is a valid way of doing this. And if it is, it's solving a lot of issue. If it's not, means that we needed some sort of callback, you know. So like when the character is deleted and destroyed, when we are in the destructor of APS character, we go and we launch a callback on all the objects, you know, that are interested into that object. So we can do it, it's just more complex, you know. If we can do it with this system of weak pointers, that would be perfect, but I don't know if it's actually feasible, you know, working the way we want. I don't know. So up to here, object ID is valid, actor location is... Actor location is actually 000 though, huh? Why actor location is 000? Because it's not a movable object. Fuck. No, but actor is movable anyway, no? Or must be pawn. I think probably must be pawn. Can actor be moved, or it must be pawn? It must be pawn, I guess. I think it must be pawn, probably. No, pawn are the ones that are controlled. Actor can have a position. Why is not setting it? It seems that the set actor location is doing nothing. Vector, you say? My actor. Can I see the location here somewhere? In one of these 40 million variables? No, huh? No, huh? I don't know, I always did it on my objects, but I never did it this way, like with a new and I don't see it in the variables, but it's just because there are too many maybe, and there is a pivot offset. That is a vector. But you know, boys, I think it's time to go because it starts to be a bit late. I know. It's a pity. You could put the weak pointer as a member of a persistent object, game state or something, and then repeatedly check if the object point is still valid. Yes. I mean, I can put it... I mean, game mode... We are in game mode, right? So I could, in theory... I could in theory have this as a member of my game mode, and then we can test it like after we, I don't know, after we executed all the loading, you know, we can test it later on and see. But anyway, I don't know, Strix, if you want to help and try it, okay? But if you want. But if you want, you know, if you want, you can just, because I have to go now. But if you want to, test it, right? There is the link. I mean, it's not much code, I know, but I didn't give you a lot. But But if you want to do a test, you know, and then send me an email to info@planeshift.it or pop up in our Discord and say, hey, I tested it and it works this way, that would be very helpful. If you cannot, don't worry, I will try it myself. Okay? But guys, now I need to go because it's a bit late. Tomorrow... No, thanks, but no. I have no internet in touching a real ever again. No, really? Okay. Pity. It's a beautiful engine.
By the gods, this can't be happening.
It's a beautiful engine. Okay, but anyway, if anyone else wants to test it, right? This is basically a simple test. Now, yes, we should put maybe this variable, you know, this one as a member variable of our game object or of a character, run around with the character and continuously test if that thing is valid or not. Yeah, maybe we can do it like this, because with the character I think it's a bit easier, you know. So we can put it on the character and as a variable, and we can test it continuously, right? I mean, in theory, we can also do it directly with the one that we need, which is the PS attack, whatever, the damage history, you know. The problem is that this thing is a bit complex, and modifying it partially, I think, is a bit annoying. I think I can put it as an additional variable on my character, right? Using a real engine editor on Linux is a pain. Yeah, it is, I guess, yes. Also way too bloated. Hey, it's providing a lot of stuff though, so I mean, I understand what you mean. But I can tell you that developing your own engine is not an option anymore. It's not an option. It was an option maybe 20 years ago, but now it's not an option anymore. Okay guys, thanks for watching. If you want to click on follow on Twitch and subscribe on YouTube, I would appreciate. By the way, on YouTube we want to reach 1,000 subscribers. And we are at like 880 or something. So if you want to subscribe on YouTube, that would be nice. Also, if you want to check our Patreon site, is patreon.com/planeshift. And that's it. Tomorrow I'm not here because I'm playing tabletop role play. I mean the real stuff, you know, not the video game things, but the real stuff. And so we will see each other on Saturday afternoon. I will be here, and maybe you will be with me as well. We don't know, but maybe yes. Meanwhile, test the game, open new bugs, close the previous bugs, right? And GG. See you, boys. Good night. Ah, you moved to Godot, eh? Godot. Godot. Interesting.